travel is one of the fastest growing industries in the country, accounting for about 1/3 of all the new jobs in 1980. Now, Donald Callender, the executive director of the Greater Wilmington Convention and Tourist Bureau, wants to see this area come into its own as a great place to visit and a great convention center. Welcome, Don.
Evening, Bob. Pleasure to be here.
Don, are you ready to go for tonight?
Ready to go.
Okay. We're going to start off by asking you, how did you get involved in the Convention and Visitors Bureau business?
From the ground up, Bob, I started as an archaeologist excavating in Central America.
Hold it. What's that got to do with
All right,
visitors?
now just hang on for just a quick second. I ended up in museum management and found myself the director of a museum that needed tourists and tourists to pay for costs of operation of the museum, etc. And found myself working very hard in committees in Delaware County for tourism. The job as executive director of the Delaware County Visitors Council came up. I decided to change careers because I could see that the travel industry is a growing industry and has a lot of opportunity. It's a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. And I've ended up in tourism from archaeology.
You don't
ground up.
You don't miss the rocks?
No, I had 7 years of that. That was enough rocks.
Well, now, is this Tourist and Visitors Bureau part of city government, or is it sort of like a Chamber of Commerce, a non-profit independent organization?
It's a non-profit 501c6 like a Chamber of Commerce. For example, a museum like Winter Tour is a 501c3. They have better tax advantages than we do.
Oh.
Advantages in mailing postage and things that they can not have to declare as income, etc.
I see. Well, when was it established?
We're just over a year old. The Greater Wilmington Convention Visitors Bureau was established in August of 1980. I was hired in November of 1980, and we've been in operation 10 months.
Now, what are the objectives of your bureau?
To develop Greater Wilmington as a national and international convention and visitors destination.
That's a pretty mighty goal. Can we accomplish it in Little Wilmington?
Well, in 10 months, starting out from a box of records, an old railroad car in Rodney Square, 4 chairs and a telephone, we now have an office complex and a staff and a visitor center where I think we have about 22 countries represented in our guest register book just in our visitor center, and we're handling about 250 information requests a month, maybe 100 phone calls a month for information. Incidentally, I should mention we have a 24-hour answering service for information on the area. We will answer 571-4088 during business hours, 9 to 5. If someone wants information, if they're having friends or relatives in, we can help them out, in setting up a tour, what there is to do in the area.
Well, what do visitors, potential tourists, and conventioneers look for in an area, and what does Wilmington have to offer to meet that need?
Services. Well, you've got to split it because the convention industry is different than the visitor industry.
Okay.
And I don't know whether we have time to go into that, but let's just make that basic distinction. Conventions need certain types of support, special entertainment arrangements, registration assistance, planning, maybe even financial assistance, etc. And we can help them and steer them in the right direction for those resources that we have in our community to help their convention. We look at the Convention Visitors Bureau as a coordinating agency. We're the one phone number, the one-stop shopping, the umbrella agency that can tell someone, a meeting planner, here's where you can go to get all these services. And we point them in the direction of our membership. We have about 155 members of our Convention Visitors Bureau, and they make up the team. We like to stress this. This is the team, and this team is committed to helping the conventioneer or the visitor when they come into this community to have a very meaningful and worthwhile time.
Now, and your number again?
It's 571-4088.
So if someone wants to have a good time in this town, they call 571-4088.
That's the magic number.
Now, what's in the convention outlook for Wilmington in the future?
Well, right now, I'm working on about 30 leads. That probably represents, it's getting late in the day,
right,
probably represents about $2 million worth of business, new dollars coming into our community. If you were to pull your wallet out right now and look at the dollar bills, $10 bills, whatever you happen to have in there, and you look at if you look at the mint marks next to the end of the serial number, A I think is Boston, B is New York, C is Philadelphia, etc. Those dollars had to come here by someone bringing them. The banks don't ship them down here in bulk mass from Boston. They're distributed and issued in the districts where they're minted. So if anyone in the listening audience wants to check the viability of tourism in Wilmington right now, which is about a $203 million industry employing about 8,600 people, Just look at those dollar bills. Those dollars came here because people are already coming here. Our job is to harness that industry and make it better and bigger.
In 60 seconds or less, what's the future of the Bureau?
I think the sky's wide open. I think we have a fantastic area. I think we have just begun to harness what I feel is going to emerge as a great national, international travel and convention destination.
Will you come back on again another time?
Absolutely, love to, anytime, Bob.
Great. That was Donald Callender of the Greater Wilmington Convention and Visitors Bureau, and some great ideas for you. 571-4088 if you want to have a good time in this town. Now, hope you accomplish and succeed in all your goals and efforts.